So I really hope your week is going as good as possible. Today we are going to try to cover um, a little more topics, so you can ask as much questions as possible. Last time we have to like to cover a little more information than today, so today I'm going to speak a little less, I think. So same as last session, I will have here this presentation is not a presentation, basically just the names of the topics that we have covered. And we will start with this one, specifically securing devices, safe storage, and backups. And with this, I will just make a quick reminder. It's very important that we create our own schedule. Remember, I told you I have my date with my devices. I clean them. I get rid of all these files that are completely unnecessary to have. And if I need to keep them, then I send it to a hard disk drive, and then I do all the backup and then the updates. Um, there is something important that was raised in the forums, and I want to address that specifically because it sometimes we doesn't take care of that part too much, and is the availability of the data after a long time. So let's imagine right now we have a hard disk drive is top of the line. We bought it this year, so it's new. And I put all the information, sensitive information and important information from my work right now here. But does it going to, it's going to work in 10 years? The hard disk drive is going to be workable still? So we need to like to plan, to make a plan that includes also changing the hard disk drive. So I have to migrate all the data from one hard disk drive to another one. If we think, I would say, let's say 10 years ago, do you remember how the hard disk drives were? First, it was really difficult to get a hard disk drive, but if you get to have a hard disk drive, it was a huge, amazing piece that makes a lot of noise, and you have to connect to the plug. It makes a lot of noise, and it's really slow. And of course, it's like a lot of things that was not that easy to manage. So, of course, right now the hard disk drives are easier to get, they are cheaper, they are more efficient. Now we have a lot of solid state hard disk drive, which is amazing because before, if we like move too much our computer, our laptop, the hard disk drive, I don't know if you remember, get damaged. So now, of course, we doesn't have that. Um, I'm just going to make a few reminders. This is recorded, so uh, if you want to check this session later, of course, you will be able to do it, same as last session. All the files and all the links that I will use during this session, I will put it later available for you to check. So anything that we have here, you can check it later. So, and of course, if you have trouble with time, there is still time that you can take later to finish all the assignments and all the activities of the training, so you can get the certificate. So don't worry. I know that we all have a lot of busy times. So focus on the content as much as you want, as you can. Sorry, and everything is going to be better. I can assure you. So following this topic, welcome Alberto. Um, We have a plan, so we know that maybe in 5 years, maybe in 3 years, I don't know, we will need to change our or migrate our data to another hard disk drive, or if we have it on the cloud, let's say, because that was the other part that was raised in the forum. Uh, can we make really a budget of on how many years can we have on the cloud, the amount of data that we are going to be collecting during those years? If we think yes, maybe I can say, oh yes, I'm just paying this iCloud and I paid $1 per month. Yes, in 10 years, how much money is that? And if you are paying like I do Treasurit, we're talking about between 9 and 10 euros per month. In 10 years, that's a lot of money. So, does it make sense to have it always on the cloud? Or maybe after some time, I take down from the cloud and put it on a hard disk drive that could last a little more, and my budget is going to suffer a little less. So we have to think about all these kind of things. Of course, what I do is not necessarily is going to work perfectly for you, and between all of you, maybe you have different needs and different contexts, different budgets, everything. So you need to, what I'm trying to tell you is you need to think about it because it's part of the thing. um Dan is saying SSDs or solid state flash drives have become much less expensive, yes, and make migrating data so much faster than using a hard disk drive. Yes, and there is also another thing: the cables that we use. In the past, we were using just USB, and the USB, if you don't know, it has changed during the years, and it's of course it's going faster, it's going cheaper. And now that we have the Thunderbolt or the USB 4 and upper, it's really fast, and you can migrate a lot of data a lot faster. Thank you, Leroy, for Lesroy, for your comment. So think about that. Put it in your to-do list to take a little of time to think about and make your plan. It's important because many of you may have been taking pictures, important pictures, and I will share you a very anecdotic thing that makes me still sad. I lived in Japan for a long time in the past, where I was doing a fellowship when I was still a firefighter, and I took thousands and thousands and thousands of pictures, really amazing pictures for me, of course, because it was my memories. And while I was doing a migration, I don't know, something happened and the power took down, the hard disk drive was damaged, and I lost, I would say, maybe 10,000 pictures. After that, I decided not to take pictures anymore, and I was angry with the picture thing. So please don't go that way. If I have to plan in advance, I won't make the same mistakes that I did that day. So let's go to the next topic. If you have any question, please let me know in the chat also. So when we are talking about safe storage, it means that our device has to be prepared to also to have important or sensitive information in the device. And we spoke about encryption. Remember, we covered a little bit about encryption and how you can encrypt completely, entirely your device. In the case of Apple devices, you can use FileVault, which is native in the operative system, and you have just to turn it on. In some countries, I think it's turn on by standard or by default, so there is no trouble. But always check, and if you don't have it on, turn it on. It's no trouble. It's better because it's going to protect your device. Of course, there is something important. When you do it, it will give you a key. That key is your life. It's like your life. If you lose it, it's going to be, I would say, almost impossible to access your device if something happened. So that key is really important. Print it, put it in a safe box, send it to a relative that can save it really good, and put it on the cloud in different places so you have different copies in a safe position so you can use it in case of an emergency. And in the case of Windows users, we have BitLocker. So remember that you have those options. You don't have to pay anything else for that, and it's good. So what happened if I am using a computer, even a Windows, because not all Windows have the BitLocker by default, and I want to encrypt my device? Well, there is Veracrypt, and I will just jump into here. And this is one of the tools that was listed on the course. And of course, if I show you all the process of installing, it's going to take a lot of time. We doesn't have that much time, but there are a lot of tutorials. And I'm just going to repeat what I mentioned in the module. If you are using Windows, you can choose the Excel installer or the MSI installer. What's the difference? The exe installer you download into computer and then you execute the installation, and it's going to run because you download entirely the installer in your device. In the case of MSI is because you're going to download it directly from the internet. But the problem is that if your internet is not stable and it's get cut or there is a problem with the Wi-Fi or whatever, you will need to start downloading again. In some occasions, and depending on the browser, it will capture the previous part, but my suggestion is always, if there is a cut, start again the downloading. And if you are a Mac user, depending on the kind of chip that you are using, you can use MacFuse or FuseT. And this is the most important thing for Mac users. You need to install MacFuse or FuseT, depending on the context or on your device, before installing Veracrypt. If you install Veracrypt and you don't have the libraries that Fuse is going to give you, the Veracrypt is not going to work properly. You're not going to be able to use it because you're going to be able to open it, but the moment that you want to mount something or create a bolt or something like this, there is an error message that is going to be shown. So it's something just to take in consideration. And for those who haven't seen Veracrypt, this is Veracrypt. What you see here in the screen, and I will make a small exercise just to show you, and you know how easy it could be to use it. There is a main difference. If you see here, there is a lot of slots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it goes into 64. In the case of Windows users, this is with letters A, B, C until, yeah, 64 slots the same. So that's the only difference between Windows and Apple. So you can create, for example, a volume. Let me put it here. And this is the wizard is really easy to use. Um, so I will create a very standard bolt, and I will choose in the desktop. And let's say wild cats. Remember, I told you I am a fan of cats. So, okay, we will put it here. I just continue. I don't need to do anything here. I just need to decide. Um, let's say 100 megas. And this is the most important part. Remember, I mentioned at some point If you have a house, of course, you need to install a bolt or a safe box that is smaller than the house. You cannot create a bolt or a safe box that is bigger than your house. So it's going to be smaller. So in this case, 10 megas, 100 megas, it's okay. So let's put it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to use the most easy and used password in the world. And let's see, there's the warning. Let's say yes, because this is just an exercise, right? And let's do the formatting. And that's it. Now I have here the volume. And if I want to open it with just double clicking, as you can see here, it's unreadable because it's encrypted. So you cannot read what is inside here. What you need to do is mount it, and this is why it's important, this part of the tool of Veracrypt. You have the volume bot or the bolt, but you need to mount it. You can choose whichever slot you want. Think of a parking lot. You can choose, everything is available, so you can choose whichever. So I will choose, for example, 17, and I will put it here. So, and I will click mount. It will ask for the password, and that's it. Now it's mounting. And that's it. Now it's mounted. Now to open it, I do the double click, and you see there is the option of open. And now I have opened the bolt. I have it here. And let's see, I have here this image. I'm going to show you. I don't know if you recognize this image. Have you seen this image or this place? Have you visited this place? I am sure some of you recognize this image. I don't know if it's is this museum still working? I think they move or they close. I remember something was going to happen when I visited the last time, a long time ago. So let's put it here. So as you can see, I am adding in the vault or the safe box the image, and I can delete it from here. I will delete it. So I have it here. I can now close it because I want to keep it safe. And after that, I just need to unmount. It means that it will close properly the encryption. It will not be damaged. So I will unmount. And that's it. It's unmounted. Again, if someone wants to double click to see what is inside, it's not possible. It's unreadable. To open it again, I will say, let's say 5. I will open it in slot 5. The password, it's mounted. Now I will open it. And here you see the image. So as you can see, once you get familiarized with the tool, it's kind of easy. And the good thing is, if you're working in several projects, you can have mounted like many volumes in different slots. So of course the maximum is 64. You can be working in 64 different bolts at the same time. So what happens if there is an emergency, you need to run, you are late for an interview or whatever, you are not going to take each one of it to unmount it. So you can unmount all at the same time. Or you can put all at the same time, put all the passwords and mount all the volumes at the same time. So if you have many, you have 5, you have 10, you have 15, it's your choice. So I can unmount it all, and that's it. Any questions so far? Does BitLocker require, sorry, Microsoft Enterprise? It's available to an individual freelance user. It really depends um, on the version, but I think is available after Windows 10 or 11 Pro. Yes, as Lynn say over there. But in the individual part or the home version, I think in the office, it's not available. I'm not completely familiarized, but we can check it later. But yeah, sometimes it's not available according to the version that they are using. With this kind of encryption, what about if there is already spyware in your device? There is no trouble because since it's encrypted, uh, and if you have encrypted your device, even if there is a spyware, the spyware will not be able to communicate inside the device to spy, I will say. So it will not be able to extract information or to see what is happening around. Um, how can I explain this? Is think of your device as a house. And let's see, there is a rat inside your house, the malware or the spyware, the rat is inside. When you don't have your house encrypted, the mouse can go wherever they want. They can hear whatever they want. They can consume or they can eat or they can damage whatever they want. But when there is an encryption, there are spaces that are contained. So if the spyware landed in a specific area of your files, it will not be possible for that spyware or malware to go to another places nearby. Of course, if there is the occasion that your data is exactly the same file that it's infected, of course they are going to be able to have it. But usually malware and spyware land in operative system files, not in data files. Of course, they get into our devices through data or information files, but not to the operative system one. They want to go to the operative system ones in order to give instructions to the device and to allow them to steal or to damage or to do whatever they want. Um, yes, hopefully we checked before. Yes, but sometimes even in Mac computers, there could be an infection and we are not aware because there is no way to check it until it's unfortunately until it's too late. Okay, so let's continue with this. And talking about this, I'm just going to add this um, part of what we are talking here. Part of this securing devices is thinking also about the spyware and the kind of um, stackleware is the other word that some media use. And I am sure maybe you have not seen this before. I'm sorry. Here is. Um, This is very common. This is the spyware industry, basically. And if you go to Google, for example, app to monitor partner, for example, I put here this and you can see it's a sponsor, so it makes money. Top 8 free undetectable spy apps for Android. Mobile phone monitoring app. And I had previously, for example, app to monitor wife. And there is this option also, this other option, and you can see there is a lot of options, all sponsored. It means that it's an ad basically. So this is one option. You can see undetectable phone spy app and no app installation required. See, please don't think as a hacker because always there are fellows or participants that tell me, "Oh, I want to know how to use them." Of course, you can use them because they are free to use because yeah, it's part of the the industry, make it available and cheap to use. And there is even demos on these sites. This cheating spouse catch him up. Just the name tell you all. And this is how basically they sell the idea of installing spyware in your something saying I cannot hear. Do you hear me? Yes? Okay. Someone is having trouble to hear me. Um, it's they send me a direct message. So as you can see here in the spying industry, they sell the idea that is something that you need to install in other people, these kind of things. And this is, of course, maybe not illegal in some places, but completely unethical. I mean, this is something that unfortunately they make it so easy. And I don't know if there is the price shown here, but let's check in one of these options. Um, let's say if I click here buy now, just check the prices. So um, think of a government, think of a small government in a small city. They doesn't have the budget to buy to NSO Pegasus, but they can for sure install in your device something like this. How? It's really, really easy to manipulate someone into give your the device to another person. There are several ways, and I will give you a very like basic example that I have seen in some countries. What they do is that they manage or they force the user of the smartphone to go to the internet service provider company. Um, so what they force you is to go to the technical part. So you can tell them, "Oh yes, I having trouble with this device, blah blah blah." So they take the device. Of course, the this person is previously paid by these kind of organizations or corrupt people, and they take your device, they install it, they take it to the technical lab, I would say, and they install these kind of things and they give it back to you. You will never notice that something happened over there. And this is already happened in my country, for example, and some other countries that I have been working with some specific public figures. We finally found this kind of apps. So unfortunately, this is really easy to do, and people get a lot of information from partners, from relatives, from people that they want to monitor by some uh, I don't know situation. I don't know even how to name it, but the thing is that it's really easy to install these things. Um, let's see, there are other questions here. Are Signal Telegram immune to spyware? It really depends. Let's say there are different ways to infect your device. There are some kind of infections that will allow the hacker or the threat actor to have access to your microphone, for example, to have access to your camera, to have access to your screen. So maybe, and very important thing, a keylogger. A keylogger is basically a software that collects all the clicks that you do on your keyboard. So later I will be able to read what you have written. So if I recognize that this is a credit card number and this is the date and this is the code, the specific code for that um, uh, credit card, for example, I will be able to steal that information from you. So yeah, it really depends on the kind of infection. Some other infections just download or extract some specific data, but I am not able to see your screen, for example, or your microphone or your camera. It really depends on the different kind. Um, I can remember so many things at once. Yes, sorry. I'm so sorry for throwing so much information to you. I apologize, but the good thing is, since this is recorded and the other things of the other parts of the training are available, you can do it slowly and you can go it on your own pace. So please don't get overwhelmed. How to detect while being spy on those apps? Um, there is something very easy to check, and it's the amount of data that is used from our devices. Because if I am checking your device, I am sending an instruction to your mobile device, right? So your mobile device has to use data in order to send me the information back. So of course they are using, even if they are using Wi-Fi, or even if they are using the own data from the company that you have the smartphone on, then you can check how many hours or how much time have you been on specific apps. Then you will find, if you check that list in the case of Apple, once a week, it's shown to you. There is a notification and they tell you, oh, you have been this amount of hours in these apps. So you can go there, and if you don't haven't seen, you can go and search for it, and you will see that there is statistics on apps. So of course you will be able to check that maybe there is an app that you don't recognize, and it's not on the screen, it's not on the list of applications or the apps, but it's there, it's showing there, because there is no way that statistically is going to be hidden. Of course, if we are talking about Pegasus, it's another thing, but these kind of apps that are very cheap, they are not so much sophisticated. Please don't think that they are super like amazing on spying. Of course, they will give you information from the other user, but yeah, the basic information. Maybe it's where the person is. You can have grabs from uh, whatever chat they are using. And going back to the previous question, Signal, Telegram, or any messaging app that you're using is going to be compromised if the infection that you have in your device allows them to see the screen, because they will be able to read what you are basically reading or writing. So it's not because the encryption of the device of the app is not working, it's because it's like someone else is reading beside you what you are reading in your app. Um, it does not have to do with computers, but how secure it is to be talking near Alexa. Yes, this is another thing that we need to be aware. All the Internet of Things devices that we have, even if you have a fridge that is connected to the internet, if you have security cameras around you, because for security purposes, there is a lot of things that we need to consider, because all of them can be abused in some ways to get information from you. If you visit Shodan, I can show you later, there is ways that you can check on cameras from people that leave it connected to the internet without any security. Hello, a question or is nothing to do with this lesson. I ask on in the forum, but haven't had a reply. I'm working with people at Gaza a lot. They are using WhatsApp. Um, I told them to use Signal. Yes, of course, Signal is better, but sometimes in some countries it's difficult or it's blocked. So they will have a problem, or they will be the only ones using Signal, for example. So sometimes it's better, like you said here, blend in the crowd or hide in the crowd. Yes. Um, yes, but I thought it would be the most private. I am wrong. No. Um, the problem here is the way the people use it. I mean, when I say the people, is the amount of people that they are using. So if you want to use Signal, maybe you are using something better. But the problem is that if the rest is not using it, of course, you will be singled out if they are going into a checkpoint, for example. So it's really complicated, these kind of decisions, because sometimes we know that there is a better tool to use, that there is a better platform to use. And I have this trouble all the time with Google Drive, for example. The compromise of the privacy, and there is a lot of other troubles involving in these kind of big tech companies, but we still use it because there is no other choice. Of course, as I mentioned, there are some encrypted options, but nobody else is using them, so it's difficult. WhatsApp is still using OTP via SMS. Yes, this is part of the problem, that they are still connected directly with the phone number. So you receive basically a lot of information via your SMS, and this is very troubling. Okay, remember the solution for checking, other than that, the one that I mentioned before, is these two tools that I mentioned previously. iMazing, which originally was to administer or manage different devices in an organization, but they allow you to download this and use it individually, and you can connect your device. There is a dump that is going to be in the device, in the computer, and then you can run the spyware check. It includes the MBT, for example, which is the one that recognizes Pegasus. And the other one is iVerify. They have like now a corporate or enterprise option, but they have also this very basic one, which is not free, unfortunately, but is not expensive. And once you have it, it's really good because first, you can run a basic scan of a spyware constantly. If you want to do it daily, you can do it daily, no problem. But on the other hand, that you can receive news related to the threats that you are facing, and there are guides exactly matching your device and the operative system that you are using. So it means that the guides will give you specific information from your device in order to how to harden it. When we say harden it, is make it more secure. Is there any way to hide icons on the screen and apps in? Yes, of course, you can. You can download and some apps that can that can help you do that, but I don't think it's not going to solve too much, because if someone get your device, they can still search it. Maybe it's not going to be shown on the screen, like in the basic screen, or anything like superficial. But if they go to the application part, or they still going to find it, and it's going to be worse, because if it's authorities, or if someone that is searching for a specific information and you already tell them, no, I don't have anything, then you will be even in more trouble. So let's continue with this. I don't remember if I finished this part with the backups. um, there's something really important here, and the backups, you need to differentiate between the frequent backups that you can do, maybe weekly, like I do, But there are some other backups that you can do once a month or each 3 months or each 6 months. That needs exactly the entire data that you have collected in your device. So one is the backup that you do that your device helped you to do connecting a hard disk drive. But the other backup that you can do is that you actually take your data and copy that data in a hard disk drive directly. Do it directly. So it's not with the time machine in the case of Apple devices, or in the um, um, backup option in the case of Windows. So you can do it both ways. You don't need to do it both ways frequently, but it's important that you can have your entire data without any assisting app for migration or copying or cloning or whatever, that you can have it in a separate way. So if there is a trouble, you change the computers, that your device is broken or whatever, you still have raw, I would say, a raw copy of all your content or your information or your data. So, of course, all this you need to take decisions on when to do it and how to do it. Now, a little bit about OPSEC. And I offer you in the previous live session something, and just let me get to this. Here we have a new window. Just let me get here, and I will share with you also this part. This is something that I usually share with open source intelligence training, but I think it's going to be useful for you also. Okay, this is again, this is usually for open source intelligence, but I'm going to show you this because it's something that can help you create something that we call a persona. A persona is some profile, a fake profile, I would say, that you create to protect yourself if you are doing a specific kind of investigations and you don't want to use your own name. So there is something in the OSINT framework here. This is one of several options that you can use. And here you will see that it says OPSEC, which is operative security, operational security. And it's used usually in when you are doing undercover work, or you are in hostile environments and you need to protect your identity. So you create a different identity in order to be there in a safe way. If you need to run away, you run away, you get rid of that identity, and they will never know your real name. So you can see here this persona creation, anonymous browsing, privacy and cleanup, and metadata. I will share this with you so you can go here with this part. And the persona creation, there is fake name generator, these kind of things that you can use to show you this, for example. Let's okay. So here, for example, this is of course created randomly, but you don't need to think about creating this because it's already created. Of course, you can change things like the email address, or, oh, I don't want to be born on July the 2nd. I want to say December the 3rd. Or I don't want to be 75 years old. I want to be 70 or 50 or whatever. So, of course, this is to make it easier for you to create a fake profile. And then, of course, you will need image. And for that, this person does not exist. So if you haven't seen this previously, it's really easy. Every time you refresh, it will create a different picture. Those pictures are from people that does not exist. So it's not someone real. So let's create another one, and you can continue until you find a picture that matches what you are having here, and that you can use. You can create a Facebook profile or whatever, in order to protect your identity from criminal organizations or um, government or whatever. Any questions so far? Let's see. We have some questions here. For securing documents, I am not mistaken. At Forbidden Stories, they have a mission to pursue investigation if something happened. Yes. If journalists are in prison or unfortunately they die, they can continue the investigations, and they will, of course, publish it with all the information that you have given to them. I think is one of the best journalistic projects that I have seen. Um, and the pictures are one or the other. All the pictures that I show you there, those are created by artificial intelligence, so they're not real and they cannot be repeated. So if you find a picture that matches what you want, download it or copy or screen it. Because if you get refresh, it's not going to be generated again with the same. Yes, I am going to share all the resources from this session also. Yes, same as the previous one. I am going to put the list of all the links that I use. In what degree of privacy we are in iCloud? Oh, that's a good question. I mean, um, Apple, of course, they care about security, but their focus is commercial. And this is, I would say, the most important factor that you have to consider when you are choosing your tools. Um, Someone asked me in the forum about um, this storage in the cloud, and my question was basically that you need to focus on, or to at least recognize what they are focusing on. In the commercial part, they give you really cheap services, is because they want money and they doesn't care about security. Security is expensive. You cannot have really secure tools free or very cheap. It's not possible. So if they are cheap, they are focused on the commercial part mostly, and is not that secure. It doesn't mean that it sorry, it could be not possible, but it's very unlikely that a company is going to be losing money just for the fun of it. Um, isn't it possible if you're using artificially generated image that it can be determined it is fake using Telltale? Yes, but there are ways that you can, of course, move the picture or whatever. In this case, the images that are used by this website, they are really easy to recognize because when you have been analyzing this information for a long time, you can see that the eyes are exactly always at the same time. The point of the nose are exactly in the same line, that they are aligned in different ways. So it's really easy to recognize. But if you see different profiles and you put all the pictures together, you will see that the eyes are aligned, the mouths are aligned, and the eyes in the other way also are aligned. So there are many ways that you can check it. But of course, if you I don't know, want to create a campaign for disinformation purposes, a lot of people will be watching you and will be analyzing the image. But for example, and I will give my personal example, when I am checking on white supremacist groups, it's very unlikely that they will search for the details in the images that I use when I am using the profile that I use on those purposes. So it's very unlikely that when you use it for creating a persona, that people will be checking for small details. Of course, if you are allowed, if you create some like attraction to the persona, people will notice. But if you are just hide there and just hearing and taking information, nobody will notice. I can tell you. Um, Thank you, Kevin, for putting here in the chat the link. And yes, it is called GAN, Generative Adversarial Network, how it's process the images, the way they did it, because it was basically a thesis from 3 or 4 people that were working in NVIDIA, the company. They created this amazing way that was the first step before the artificial intelligence ones that we see nowadays. How do you get verified badge in social networks with a fake profile as shown? With the paid ones. Now, unfortunately, you can pay for the verification check, and you can create documents exactly the same way. Unfortunately, it's very easy, and a lot of accounts you can see today that even if they doesn't have a picture, a real picture, they can be, I will say, verified, but it's like the blue check only, the one that you paid. Verification process is not real. Unfortunately, it's not that someone will ask you for, yes, give me your driver license or your passport or whatever. Um, I don't know if you have any questions so far, so I can move to the next topic. I still have a lot of tools and things that to share with you, but I want also to answer your questions and your concerns. Okay, I will include this part of I will join this incident response with the next one, because here we have the other part. If you notice, I basically split the incident response part in two. So I will approach the incident response in this last part. So let's talk a little bit anonymity, censorship evasion, and advanced tools. Here I was basically suggesting using Tor. Using Tor is one of the best options, of course, not for everything. You need to understand that you have to take the decision. Okay, for this, I will need Tor. For this other thing, I will just need a VPN. For this other thing, I don't need anything else. I just need to use, for example, an encrypted email or an encrypted messaging app. So according to the situation, you will need the specific tool that you need to use. And here I will add the Graphene OS. Remember, I told you this is super easy. If you want to install it, you just need, there is, let's see here, which devices are supported. This is all the devices that you can use. And as I told you, I have the one Pixel 6, and is working still perfectly. This, unfortunately, these old ones are not supported anymore. I mean, you can have the Graphene OS, but there are no updates available. So it's getting like the older Graphene. And Graphene, basically, what it does is protect you against any attempt to do surveillance on your device. It's basically connecting to the internet through an encrypted connection. And even if you install, for example, WhatsApp, Telegram, or Signal or whatever in your phone, it will pass through that encrypted part. So it's not possible to geolocate your device. It's not possible to extract information from your device. You can install apps, but, and I tell you, some apps will not work properly if the app requires geolocation like openly, without any kind of security. So it's like the downside on this, but again, you need to decide which tools you need for specific reasons. In the case of if you are doing a really like an undercover work or something really dangerous, this is the best option that you can have. When you are doing very dangerous work, or covering something really dangerous, you will not be using your phones for games, for chatting, or watching TikTok, for example. Of course, it's only for work. What you need is maybe you can take pictures, you can record audio or video. You need to send some messages, you need to connect with your newsroom for specific purposes. So you need to send an email or receive a message. For that, it's completely okay. It's going to work perfectly, and I can assure you that no will be able to infect your device and monitor or spy your device. It's really, really difficult to do it. So far, nobody has been able to say, "Oh, I have broken the encryption of Graphene OS." To have it in reserve, it's where to create a persona over time. Yes, usually that's what I do. When I have some time available, I create a persona and I leave it there. So the profile is not new when I want to use it. Maybe it has a year old or whatever. It doesn't matter if it's not active, but it's there. So I have some personas available. So in an emergency, I can use one of them. In my case, and as I told you, and I repeated, I use it because I monitor white supremacists. I monitor groups that I cannot mention here in the live session, but like here in Germany, there are a lot of neo-Nazis groups. So in order to monitor these kind of groups, I cannot use my name. It's impossible. They immediately will say, "Oh, this person is not from our group." But if I use specific personas created for that purpose, they doesn't care. They doesn't notice. Um, Thank you, Angel, and please check later the live session and the rest of the training if you have any other questions. Even with a VPN, I could not access Google News in the Shanghai airport. Yes, because the VPN changes the location, and sometimes you need to be geolocated in order to be offered um, the news and the services that websites offer. So, for example, if I am checking here in Europe, the New York Times is going to be completely different from the one that you can check in US, or the one that you can check in Japan, for example. So when you are using a VPN, you are messing with that geolocation, and the website will not know where you are. So if they doesn't know where you are, even if you are using a VPN that is connected, I don't know, to Canada or whatever, it's encrypted. So the problem is that the website will not recognize that thing, because the computer says that you are, I don't know, in France, but the connection says that you are in Canada. It doesn't match. So they will not know what kind of news to offer to you. So it will be in blank. There's some parts that will be empty. Um, okay. When we talk also operational security, and we were talking specifically on the field, um, we need to plan in advance, not only the crossing borders, checkpoints, airports that we already discussed several times during the training, but also if you are um, in a daily basis, working in a specific way, but you know that the newsroom at some point could be raided. There is one case very familiar for me. In my country, there was this newspaper. It was really very famous. It was one of the oldest and one of the largest in readers, and they unfortunately didn't manage to get um, security protocols. So one day they were raided, and there were a lot of computers with the password and very important information using uh, sticky notes on there. So, of course, when the police took all these devices, for them, it was really easy to access sources, to access information that they wanted to cover. Yeah, a lot. It was a disaster for me, from my point of view. But when you are in the middle of that crisis, you cannot do nothing. So you need to plan in advance. What happened if tomorrow you are in your newsroom and it gets raided? I don't remember the name of the journalist that mentioned the case in one city in US that was raided because something happened and that the police arrived, and even they went to the owner's house and caused some trouble with the mother that later caused her death. Um, yes, yes, you remember them. A small city in Kansas. Yes, it was some time ago, but these cases could happen. We don't know when the authorities will be at some point over our newsroom and not only knocking the doors, we just open it and take our belongings, our computers. So, are you prepared right now? Be honest, and you don't need to put it on the chat, of course, but be honest. Uh, are you prepared right now going tomorrow to the newsroom and the police go and raid your newsroom and your device is going to be protecting your sources? Think of your sources. Do not think of your personal pictures like my cats. Cats, I don't care. My sources are really important. Um, yeah, and that's a good question, Dan. There is a kill switch. Unfortunately, there is no kill switch like that. For that, you need to plan in advance. There are some apps where you are covering demonstrations that you can kill the information immediately. But and I will include right now something that maybe it will be interesting for you. Today we were testing um, this app with my fellows here in Germany, and let's see. Have you seen the BitChat, the new app from Jack Dorsey? It creates a mesh with Bluetooth. Today we were testing that app, and it works really nice. For example, if you are going to a demonstration, if you are covering something very specific, um, of course, it won't work if you want to do something else, but you can send private messages. You can create like a mesh, and all the people who has the app and it's connected and it's around you will appear in a specific screen, and you can have conversation openly in the open part. But if you want to send a private message, you can also do it. You can be completely anonymized with a random name that is assigned, or you can change it to your name or to a specific name that you want. Of course, it's for closed environments, but it could work perfectly when you have a lot of work and there's noisy places, or I don't know, the newsroom is really noisy and you want to share information in the newsroom. That was the thing that I was going to suggest. Why? If you check it, please download it and test it. If you click three times, two or three times in the screen, all the data that is on the screen is going to be deleted. Right now is available on Apple and Android. You can download it directly from the both markets. There is a trouble in the messaging between Android and Apple devices, but hopefully they will fix it really soon. So when you have any trouble, I mean, you want to delete something, you just click two times in the screen, and it deletes the entire chat that you have over there. So test it. It's not that bad. And there are other tools that and apps that are similar, of course. Yes, too bad BlackBerry is gone. Unfortunately, that was a very good tool, but they didn't manage get to compete with Apple. They could have been at some point a really good complement to iPhone, but they didn't think of it like that. Let's see. No, I'm just searching for the link of the. But yeah, you can search it. I mean, it's really easy to search it on both providers. Is there any other question? BlackBerry Messenger, I'll leave the devices, but it too has been discontinued. Yes, yeah. Unfortunately, they wanted to compete so aggressively against iPhone that they lost. I mean, in US it was impossible to beat iPhone after they went out, so it was completely unfortunate. Um, Okay, let's go to this other part. Remember, there was a lesson about digital threats. This is an entire different approach, and I wanted at that point to show you that there is a lot of different ways that you can be attacked also. Remember that I mentioned there the attack vectors, the financial blockage, the legal harassment, which is called slapping in some places if there are like several cases against you. Um, yeah, they can create a complete environment that they create an ecosystem that they can decide, oh, we are going to use these trolls, these podcast members, these public figures, these, I don't know, YouTubers, and these fake websites. So we are going to combine and we are going to create a narrative. We're going to throw it and we're going to do this. And if we are doing a discredit campaign against a specific journalist, yeah, they have plan in advance, they have resources, they know what is the outcome, and they know how would you um, react to these attacks. If they know that you get engaged in these kind of situations, they will take advantage of it. That's why I usually recommend not to engage with the attackers. First, you are validating them as an interlocutor, and also you are validating what they are saying. You're giving them the importance that they want to have. So what I do is create a secondary narrative in my own space. When you like read about, oh, this public figure did whatever, you usually go to the profile of this public figure. So when you go to the public figure and you find a complete entire version, different version with I don't know, fact checking of the other narrative or whatever, it's gonna be a completely different um, outcome of this interchange of narratives. And the most important thing, how to profile the attacker. That was raised from the introduction module and the module one, but also I included this last part in the profiling attackers, where you can actually create a very specific profile from who is behind the attacks that you are receiving. And because that is going to give you a lot of information in order to counter those attacks. And the incident response, that you can actually ask for help. I am no longer in the RSF doing that specific work, but I was in the digital lab, and I was in charge of what is kind of the help desk. And at some point, I was receiving messages from journalists all over the world asking for assistance in the middle of crisis. So I have this trouble right now. Can you help me? And yeah, of course, we will help him. But of course, there are some other projects like Citizen Lab, Amnesty International, Access Now. There are many, many organizations that are doing this kind of work, and it's really good. Is very tiring because you have to be connected a lot of time, all the time. Um, but the option is there. So this is the message. The option is there. You can go there. You can ask for assistance, and they will go with you, giving the proper assessment according to your specific needs. Carrie, so if you want to hide that you are researching something that is security sensitive but is freely available on the public websites, which is the best to use? Tor VPN or Graphene? I mean, there are no like one or the other one. I will be using, for example, for doing the researching, maybe I will be using Tor to visit some specific websites so they cannot track me back. If I am sending specific information, maybe I will be using a VPN. And during this period of time, I will be using Graphene in this secondary device. So I am not trackable, I am not reachable if I block some specific ways of communication like Bluetooth or NFC or any other um, like way that they can access my device uninfected, for example. Um, then also to keep that research hidden on devices, I imagine to file and store that information, decryption will be important. Yes, you will have to decide. My suggestion is always to have, for example, if I have this sensitive information from a specific investigation I'm doing right now, I have a copy near to me in a hard disk drive or a USB stick or whatever, in a closed compartment. It's a safe box, for example. I have another one, also digital, in another place. For example, a friend that could be also a journalist or a relative or whoever has a safe box that is completely secure. And the other one is on the cloud. So I have usually three. This on the cloud is an account that is used by I don't know, an email. That email is could be White Rabbit 24. It's I am just inventing right now the name, but it could be something like this. Is not my name, is not something related to me. So I am the only one that knows that that specific storage in the cloud exists. So I put that information over there. So I have it in several places. So if I have to, by emergency, delete it from my computer, it's still safe. And by that I mean, because sometimes if there is an emergency, the best way to protect everything is delete what you want, that what you can from your device. Um, yes, hoping again that there is no screen spyware. Yes, of course, if there is a screen spyware, or they can listen to your conversations with a microphone, then whatever you do is already leaked. Can Oxygen Forensic Detective decrypt proton mail and signal? So far, I have not seen something like that. Even if you are using Celebrite or any kind of forensic decryption software is not possible because of the way that they are encrypted. The problem there is that sometimes people copy information, sorry, copy information from these chats or these encrypted environments to other places. And I will give you an example. There is a bridge that you can use if you are an Apple user, for example. You have the mail app. You can connect the Proton Mail emails to the mail app. You can just download the bridge and you can put it there, and you can read in your mail app your Proton Mail accounts. That way is easier. It makes your life really easy. But on the other hand, it opened the door for any kind of forensic analysis tool will be able to extract what is in the proton mail, but it's not from the proton mail, it's because it's linked to the other app. So that's usually what happens. Sometimes people, because it's easier, do these kind of connections. Have you ever been digitally threatened? A lot of times, unfortunately. I think I mentioned that one of these cases I was investigating about 2 years ago, or yeah, 2 years ago, group of trolls from Turkey, and I started downloading information. I asked someone over the internet, of course, about one of these trolls, and less than an hour later, I received a message on Twitter itself, and the account, it was something like service Twitter or whatever. Of course, it was a phishing attempt. That something in my information was unclear and they need to check it. I traced back all the URLs, and the URL, the final one, and the IP from where it comes, it was directly from a building of the government in Turkey. So yes, when you discover that, of course, there is a lot of other things that they start doing, like sending not only phishing attempts, but other kind of attacks, like infecting your devices, doing surveillance of what you are searching over the internet, a lot of things. So unfortunately, it's very common. And when you are poking the bear on the internet, that's what I do usually. You get a lot of hit on coming back. What is the most relevant case? Yeah, unfortunately I cannot say like too much because I usually work for organizations and I don't disclose my name. So most of these kind of big cases that I work on are related to organizations or groups of people. If you search, you won't find too much of my reports online because I don't put my name for security purposes. And unfortunately, and this is the reason basically, I have two death threats in my country just before coming here to Germany. So yeah, it's a very unfortunate case in this situation. So any other question? Otherwise, I will be finishing this last part. I will just maybe let's go to yes. Here is I'm going to put the list of the links that I use today. As I mentioned before, I had less content than the previous session. And if you don't have any other question, please, if you have later on any other question, please send it to the forum. There is a specific place for asking for to the instructor. Send a message over there or send me a direct message. I will try to answer them as as soon as I can. Sometimes I am on trainings, I cannot answer immediately, but I will do my best to help all of you. And I want to thank you for this long trip that we have uh, come together. I really hope that this is just the first step that you take to keep learning about digital security. Is a long way, and this is just the very basic stuff. I really want for you to be safe. Being under threat over the internet is really a bad thing, and I think nobody deserves it. So I really wish that you are secure as possible. How long will be the course be online? I don't know exactly the amount of time, but it's really long. I mean, there are some courses that you can check it a month or even more later. So you still have a lot of time available. Remember that there is a lot of content that you can download it, the slides, all these kind of things you can download it and have it. The readings, check the readings. There are some specific readings that has a lot of information from organizations that have curated really nice, good information. That's why I didn't want to create the specific readings, just to use those because they are really, really good. Um, yes, Charles, I give a lot of open source intelligence training um, in different areas. The only one that I don't do so much, because this is a complete entire universe, different universe, is geolocation and images. Uh, but I focus a lot on websites and tracking information on social media and some other places. Thank you very much, everyone. And please do not hesitate to contact me if you need something. Um, and yeah, I think that's it. There are no more questions. I'm happy that you are happy.